In January 1975, a German teenager named Vera Brandes, frustrated that there just wasn't enough good jazz, started to arrange concerts herself. Tonight would be the biggest by far. Vera persuaded the Cologne Opera House to host a late-night jazz concert by the American pianist Keith Jarrett, a remarkable venue for a remarkable 29-year-old musician. But there was a big problem. The piano provided by the Opera House was not what they had requested. Jarrett was an exacting musician. He liked things to be perfect, but somehow the piano on stage was nothing like the one that had been promised, and quite understandably Jarrett didn't want to play it. When it became clear that there was no way to get a replacement piano, the choice was very simple: the unplayable piano or nothing at all. Keith Jarrett chose nothing. He walked out into the rain, leaving Vera behind him, begging him not to cancel. When 1,400 people showed up later that night, she was surely going to face a riot. With an unplayable piano and an understandably reluctant Keith Jarrett, she did the only thing that she could. She ran after him and she begged. And Keith Jarrett, looking out at the rain-drenched teenage girl, took pity on her. He would play after all. A tuner worked to straighten out some of the kinks in the unplayable piano. It was now in tune, but still had silent notes, a malfunctioning sustain pedal, and a harsh upper register. And of course, not being a full-size grand, it was simply too quiet. If he played in the conventional style, it would never fill the vast auditorium with music. But it was too late to back out now. Utterly alone, in front of 1,400 people, Jarrett walked out onto the stage of the Opera House. He sat down at the unplayable piano and he began. And everyone was totally mesmerised. He avoided the upper register, sticking to the middle tones of the keyboard, which gave the music a soothing ambient quality. His left hand produced rumbling, repetitive bass riffs to cover the piano's lack of resonance. But he couldn't just simply relax into an easy listening zone. The tiny piano just wasn't loud enough. At times he stood up, pounding the keys, desperately trying to create enough volume to reach the people in the back row. He wasn't holding back in any way. From an unplayable piano came something unique. The performance became legendary, and it made Keith Jarrett's reputation. It wasn't the music he ever imagined playing, but handed an impossible mess, Jarrett soared. This is an example of a phenomenon we'd probably understand, yet we avoid at all cost. When we are faced with adversity, we sometimes discover something we would otherwise have missed. And it isn't only when playing so-called unplayable pianos. Every area of life can be enriched when we are forced to try something different. And yet, if we're honest, we rarely welcome these moments, and most all of us seem to avoid them at all cost. As I look back on 2025 and ahead to the new year, I find myself asking, in what areas of my life have I avoided these opportunities? When things haven't unfolded as I imagined or hoped that they would, how have I responded? Have I, like Keith Jarrett's initial reaction, walked away and avoided the situation? Or have I faced it head on, allowing space for something new to emerge? This isn't to suggest that every hardship leads to success, many don't, but occasionally they might. Keith Jarrett's reputation was forged that night as he played the unplayable piano. It could just as easily have been remembered as yet another cancelled concert, another moment where he chose to walk away because of circumstances. We face similar choices. When adversity is thrust upon us, our instinct may be to retreat, but perhaps we would do better to pause and ask, is there an opportunity here? And how might I grasp it with both hands? The outcome may still be failure, and sometimes it is, but it could also become a defining moment, one that allows us to experience something we otherwise would have missed.